whatnot. There's this constant idea that stress is harmful to our health, and that we should all learn how to manage stress in our day-to-day life. And I think just that notion alone is making us even a lot more stressed out than we would normally be. When it comes to stress, I believe it's something that we are constantly exposed to, whether we like it or not, whether we feel like it or not. I believe life means a constant exposure to stress. So stress is normal for everybody. It's something we must always experience. Don't mind me, I'm still entering into the flow of the webinar. So let's continue. I believe stress is something that would always be exposed to, that we would always encounter in our day-to-day life. And saying managing your stress puts more pressure on us as human beings to get rid of stress. But stress is something that is always around us. Being alive means you're going to experience certain levels of stress in your day-to-day activities. And if we truly understand what stress is, we would know that with everything we are doing, our body is experiencing stress. I believe that stress is an experience. All right. So we'll go into, I'm introducing myself. My name is Chisom Jane Obidike. I am a full-time entrepreneur, a full-time fitness coach, and it's a passion of mine to help people build healthy, strong, happy bodies to get you to your fitness goal so you can age gracefully. So you're not exercising out of a place of fear, or when you're in panic levels. You're doing so because you want to care for your body. You deeply want to care for your body, have a better relationship with your body, how you feel about yourself, how you feel on the inside and the outside. That is what I help you do ultimately. So regardless of your fitness goal, regardless of where you are in your fitness journey, I come in to help you build a better relationship with exercise, food, and your bodies. What building a healthy relationship with exercise, food, and your body does for you is that you stop seeing fitness and health as this extra stressor in your life, right? You stop seeing it as this other thing you have to do for yourself. If not, you get ill. If not, you'll be unfit. You start to look at it from a place of, I want to care for myself. I have to care for my body. I want to care for the quality of my life, meaning, because we talk about quality of life all the time. Quality of life meaning how you feel in your day-to-day interactions. Are you constantly tired? You don't want to feel like that anymore? Are you constantly fatigued? Just irrational, all over the place. You're just anxious. And this building a healthy relationship with your body brings you to this place of calm, of this peaceful connection with yourself. It's not all that flashy. It's not very sexy. If you start to practice it day to day, but it is the unsexy things that help get us to where we want to go on our fitness journey. And I help you do just that. So why would you listen to me? I have years of practical experience coaching people from quick fixes to actually really enjoying their journey with their fitness, exercise, and food. I approach coaching from a compassionate point of view, meaning that from my practical experience training with other coaches, I believe that there's one thing lacking, and it is usually that approach to exercise that considers the other person's suffering, that brings in more kindness. And this approach works better long term. So you're not despising the process. You are seeing that the process is what it is. And then you are being kind to yourself to allow you go through the process without resenting it. And the reason many people give up on their fitness journey is that we end up resenting it. We end up hating the process. We end up wishing it was different. We're not really kind to ourselves and our capacities. Because we're not kind to ourselves, we're not really we don't have this idea on what is going to take us to get there, because we're already very critical of ourselves, very judgmental, so we don't have an idea of what it truly takes to get to your fitness goal. That once you experience any hardship or setbacks, you start to curse yourself, you start to blame yourself, and then you're more likely to give up on your fitness goals. Whereas if you were to approach fitness from a very compassionate, fiercely compassionate point of view, you're more likely to call yourself out on where you are playing small, call yourself out on where you're giving excuses, call yourself out when something is hard and acknowledge it's hard, and give yourself the grace to do hard things. That is what compassion looks like. That is why I approach my coaching from that point of view, and I offer long-term sustainable solutions. That means we work exactly to you, your environment, what you're used to, where you are, and then help give you as much support as you allow to take you to where you want to get to. Because what you want and what you need to get there are two usually very different things. If you don't know how fat loss fitness works, you're always going to be revolving around what you think you need, instead of really giving you long-term approaches, and they are not really sexy if you think about it. Okay, we're talking about managing your stress, fitness, and fat loss. I don't know if you see what I did there, but that managing that starts just after the T, it's already giving you a whole lot of stress, and you're wondering why is that M there, right? This is practically what stress means, something that disrupts you from the free flowing, calm, regulated state to where something just lights up in your mind and in your head, and you're like, why is that M there? And I'm sorry if you're going to see more maybe mistakes or something that is not aligned, and I'm going to see something that is not aligned, and it's a stressor, and we're going to come into stress and all of that much later. All right, so in this webinar you're going to learn what stress is and how to cope with it or manage it. I know that language matters when you're talking about stress. When you tell people manage your stress, there's this feeling that, oh, manage my stress, how do I do all that? I have a whole lot of things to do. How do I start arranging it? I know personally for me, I was really stressed out about having the perfect morning routine, what I would do. I woke up, the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But along the line of constantly changing morning routines, worrying about it, I just allowed myself have one or two things in the routine. I said, this must be done in the morning. These are the things that are more likely that I will produce better in the morning, and I just put them there according to the day. And I wake up and something else is urgent, and I really have to focus on that. But it gave me less anxiety, less stress, right? So when you talk about managing stress, it's more like coping with what you have at hand. I knew I had to find the morning routine, but how do I do that? I allowed myself experiment, right? Get rid of all the anxiety around having the perfect productive morning and perfect productive routine. To just allow myself to think about, it's going to be stressful. I just have to keep exploring till I find what it is for me. And so we're also going to talk about how your mindset and your belief affects your fitness. So what you believe about stress affects how stress affects you, right? What you believe, what you associate with stress and how you respond to it affects how you experience stress, and how stress affects you physically, that's physiologically and mentally, psychologically. We're going to talk about connection between stress and your metabolism. People talk about it a lot, like when you're stressed out, it breaks your metabolism and your fitness is going to take a hit and all of that. I think these are the things that scare people from fitness, and it's like there's this overwhelming amount of information online, and they're always so contradictory. You're not sure which one you should be doing and how you should be approaching it. So we are going to go into all of that. We're also going to talk about daily practices for reducing stress and enhancing well-being. This lecture is not going to take very long. I want to cap it at 45 minutes to allow you have time enough to go through it when you can. If you're going to be if you're watching this on a replay, don't be scared. We're gonna go breeze through it and just give you bullets, exactly what you need to, when next you think about stress and your fitness journey, you would have a mental clarity on how to approach it. So we have different ways we understand stress, and I'm going to point out two flawed thinking of stress. People think that stress is negative. A lot of people think stress is negative. We have flawed thinking or ways we think about stress. There are two things here. One, we think stress is negative, and then that you can manage or avoid stress. As I've been saying from the very beginning, hold on, I'm sorry. As I've been saying from the very beginning, stress is, okay, we have this flawed approach to thinking about stress. We think that stress is negative, and then we think we can cope or avoid stress. But the truth is that stress is neither negative or positive, and it's both, right? You can think about stress as negative, and it's going to be just that for you. And you can think about it as positive, and you're going to experience it exactly that way. As I said in the beginning, your mindset around stress affects how you experience stress, how you think about stress, how stress affects you physically. So when you think stress is negative, you're always only going to look at it as this thing that drains you, makes you fatigue. But that is where we come in with the way you think about stress. What is mindset? Your mindset towards stress. Mindset is a state of mind that orients people towards a particular expectation and association. What this means is your mindset towards stress tends to affect how you act around it. When you think about stress, what you expect it to be would be how you experience it. So if you have that mindset that stress is, it's harmful for your health, you're going to start to experience a decline in health every time you're stressed out. But if you see the same situation as enhancing and empowering, you're going to experience like a mindset expansion every time you experience stress. So let's talk about what stress is. Stress is anything that disrupts your body from homeostasis. Homeostasis is that place when you are calm, you're balanced, you're having fun, you're just in this place of oasis, right? And then something just comes, bam, disturbs that pond. So picture example, a riverbank, right? The water is calm, a pond. Let's use pond for example. The water is calm, it's just cool, and then someone throws a rock at it. That is what stress does. And stress can be anything, literally anything. Stress can be something exciting. Stress can be something fearful. Stress can be something that gives you anxiety. Stress can be anything. So how we experience stress and the words, it's really important to have words that you put to stress. It helps you experience it, the experience of stress more scary, if I'm to put it like that. So we need to have words and how we experience stress. Really interested to look into that, how we experience stress, what stress is for us. And we're still going into all of that. So sometimes we experience stress and then we get to a place where we are at the peak of our stressor. For example, you're getting chased by a dog. Let me use this very popular example everybody uses. You're getting chased by a dog, and then something just comes. You're getting chased by a dog, and then you have all this energy. You scale through. You have this energy to keep running, and it gets to a point where you're hardly feeling it. You're just cruising, but then you crash. This could be normal if you believe that stress is painful or harmful, or stress can cause health problems. However, if you start to orient our minds to start thinking of stress as enhances your performance, how you show up at work, enhances your well-being, your mindset, your mental well-being, your alertness, enhances your health, your body is strong, you're thriving, you're dealing well, stress will be just that for you. But if you're thinking of stress as negative, so your performance suffers. Still, maybe say work, you're thinking about stress, you're thinking about, when you think of work, maybe you hate your job, right? And because you do not like your job, it stresses you out. It just drains you, makes you feel like, what am I doing? Makes you feel like you're missing out on a lot of things for not being able to, for all the workload that is coming. But if it's the job you care about, even when you're undergoing the same kind of stress, when you're undergoing the same kind of stress, it drives you, gives you more energy to show up. It gives you more energy to take care of yourself. It gives you more energy to show up in different areas of your life, because you're not seeing it as stress, because you care, because you truly care about the work. So you're stressed out because you care. I don't know why I'm moving ahead of myself. You're stressed out because you care. Think about stress. Stress is something that disrupts you internally, outside. It's something that disrupts your level, your place of calm, your peace. It could be something exciting. It could be something scary. Whatever it is, that is a stressor. We're still going to come into what the stress response is, how we respond to stress, and how it affects us, literally, our performance, our health, and our well-being. So this is how you can approach stress, right? And I'm still going to give us practical day-to-day activities we can be doing for stress. But if you really understand how you can approach stress, you will start to learn how to cope with stress. This is how you can approach stress. First, you have to acknowledge it. Second, you welcome it. And the third, you have to use it. So you acknowledge what your stressors really like. Look around you personally. What are your stressors? What stresses you out? Maybe you're stressed out by the noise in your environment. Maybe you're stressed out by all the workload you have to do. You have children at home, they're just playing, and you're stressed out by work. Look around you, but be mindful of what those stressors are. And when you are sure of what those stressors are, I want you to welcome it. This is your reality. You can't change it. So you welcome the stress. You're stressed out by all those things because you care about them. You're stressed out by kids running around because you care about them. If you don't really care about them, you'll be like, well, whatever, it doesn't stress me, right? You're stressed out by work, maybe because you care. That's why you keep showing up. Maybe you don't, right? But welcome it. You're stressed most times because you care. And there are situations where you don't care, but it just stresses you out. Deep down, you care. You care because, say for that work, you care because that work gives you money to put food on the table. So you show up for it. It doesn't have to be personal or lovey-dovey, right? And the last thing, you utilize it, use it. If this is putting money on the table, you might as well use the stress to enhance yourself. Remember, as we said at the beginning, stress enhances you according to how you think about it. If you think about stress as something that, takes you far in life, something that will help you build capacity to build more resilience, it's going to be just that for you. When things are hard, when things are, just overwhelming, you welcome it and use it to your advantage. How do I make this easier for myself? How do I, this is my reality now, so how do I use it to my advantage? But if you start to look at stress, if you look at stress as something negative, it means that it's going to fatigue you faster than when you look at it as something positive. And the funny thing about when you look at stress as something positive, you're more likely to take your recovery from stress more seriously. Think about how high performers, they talk about stresses and recovering and resting and mindfulness, because they take their stressors and their recovery from stress way serious, because they want to perform at high levels. So you might think, okay, let me just keep being exposed to stress, and then you have to chase recovery the same way you're chasing work. If you're working, you're meant to be recovering at the same pace. I don't mean if you're working 100% and then you must, if you work for 1 hour, then you must rest for 1 hour. No, your body recovers faster than you think. So you just have to nourish it with the right foods, sleep well, be mindful of it. It's easier said than done, but that is what, if you want to be able to use your stress, you have to learn how to recover from it and how to use it to your advantage. So this is how you approach stress. Acknowledge it, welcome it, use it until you get to a place where you get to decide the level of stressors you let into your life. That's a privilege to have, but it's even at that stage, you still have to learn to acknowledge that depending on where you are, you can use stress to your advantage. And that is how you use it for your fitness journey. All right? I have this slide here that says, just a cold night in the middle of Mount Everest. And I was listening to Alia Crum, a researcher on stress, mindset, and a lot of things. She has a whole lot of study on our expectations, on how our mindsets affects our health, our diet, physically, our mindset, So she just said this, and that somebody said this to her. Just a cold night in the middle of Mount Everest. So thinking about stress as something enhancing, right? You will be, okay, just a cold night in the middle of Mount Everest. You're on a fitness journey, right? It's going to be hard sometimes. Some days you wake up and you don't want to take care of yourself. You just want to lay in bed. Some days you wake up and you don't have the energy. Some days you wake up, it feels like you're not making any headway. What happens? What are you expecting? You're going to be hungry. You're going to be tired. Your body's going to feel tired. But how you get stronger is by showing up and recovering and showing up and recovering. Just the cold nights in the middle of Everest. What are your expectations? So sometimes we come into a fitness journey with the expectation that, let me make it easy for myself. But the process is the process. The mindset and the expectations behind that process, it's all that matters. It's all that matters. Knowing that this is a fitness journey, I'm going to have to learn ways to start to enjoy exercise, or maybe make it easier on myself because I care about myself. Because I care, I'm going to have to find ways to cope with this stressor called exercise. Because I care, I'm going to have to find ways to implement, eating nutritious foods into my diet, because I care about my body, because I care about how I show up, the quality of my life, how joyful I show up in the morning, because it takes energy to have joy. So if you don't have enough energy, enough food in you, you could be feeling anxious, depressed, and you're wondering why, because you're not recovering or taking care of yourself as much as your body would like. So stress can be used to your advantage, but when you don't recover well, you don't heal well, you're going to experience, maybe go from acute stress to chronic stress. That's prolonged stress without recovery. Acute stress is good. You experience a stressor, you recover, and then your capacity is enlarged. Ever experienced a situation where something you used to do that felt hard, after a while that same thing becomes easier because you build a level of capacity to be able to handle that? It's a stressor, but at that same level it's no more a stressor to you because you've expanded your capacity, you've healed, you've built muscle, strength, resilience, adaptability, capacity, and then you've gotten to a next level of your stressor. Stress responses. So I think this video, we have gone on a long time, more than 40 minutes to, it's not yet 45 minutes yet, it's 5:35, and I'm gonna stop recording now and start another. When your body is experiencing stress, there are a lot of things that goes on in your body when you're experiencing stress. Your body starts to use, for example, I want to use one thing, for example, you're exercising, right? And your body will start to gather energy, mobilize energy to really support your exercise. So what this means is that your body sees that you prioritizing exercise right now. So what's going to do is it's going to shut down so many other processes or so many other things that needs energy. Example, maybe digestion, stops producing hormones for the time being, and it just mobilizes that energy to where you need it, to exercise, to support you. That is why sometimes, if you notice this pattern, where at the beginning of an exercise routine you really don't feel good, but after a while it starts to feel good. You start to it feels like your level of tolerance starts to increase. You even have more energy to push, to keep doing more. That is your body practically responding to stressor. So though other things go on behind the scene, how your body produces energy and just supplies you glucose to your muscle to really enable blood flow to that place to where you need it for the exercise. That's what your body starts to do. The body is mobilizing energy, and this thing happens quickly, right? In a stress response, this thing happens quickly. Picture this: you're exercising, and then you are, you start to become more alert. It enhances your immune system and sharpens alertness. This means that you start to feel more alert. You start to feel more focused on what you're doing, because everything has reduced. Every other processes in your body has just been shut down to really support this particular thing. And it happens with all kinds of stress. It happens when you are trying to focus on work. Maybe you're focusing on this thing I'm teaching now, and then you're really focused, you're really in there, and you're experiencing a level of alertness, and your understanding broadens. You're really in there because your body is mobilizing every resources to that one thing that you have prioritized. And our stress response from the very beginning has been this way. In flight or fight mode, maybe say you're being chased by a lion in the desert, your body focuses all its resources to keeping you alive, so you have enough energy to run, and then you're mentally alert so you can look at ways where you can escape easily, right? Your cardiovascular tone increases, your heart rate increases, giving you pumping more blood to the place where you need it the most. Maybe in this instance, your legs, you really need energy over there, and then you're running faster, you're thinking faster, adrenaline is pumping, you're smarter because you're strategizing better. But at the same time, what goes on is reproduction is suppressed, growth is suppressed, digestion is suppressed. So your body is not digesting food while it's keeping you alive, or while it's running away from a lion, or while it is looking at the screen, trying to understand something, because it's a stressor. Your body is going to do all of this. So it's critical that you understand these stress responses. Why? Because think about your day-to-day activities. Maybe close your eyes and think about your day-to-day activities. Your body is constantly, shutting down all these things, pumping blood to these places. You might not really feel it physically, but it's happening on the inside. And your body is just doing all of this on a constant. What your body needs is rest. More like your body needs to know that you're no more in danger. So it comes back to homeostasis, right? It comes back. But the interesting thing your body does is you're even exposed to a level of stress and then you rest. Your body doesn't come back to your initial level. Your capacity to handle stress at a level increases. Think about this, right? So we have a stressor here in this curve. We have a stressor here. You have a stressor here. Let's see. We have a stressor here in this curve, right? And then it disrupts your homeostasis. It goes down, right? And then before you know it, when you start to recover, it goes up. The funny thing is that this will not, if a stressor will not affect you in this level anymore. It starts to go up because you're healing. And then let's say this is your new level of homeostasis. This is the new place where you're calm. Because when you go through this stressor, maybe this stressor was 10 reps of squats, right? 10 reps of squats. And then after the exercise, you eat well, you recover, you sleep well, you do all of these things. And the next stressor that is going to affect you, after a while, this is no more your homeostasis. This is no longer hard for you because it doesn't stress you out anymore. Now you can do 20, right? And then you recover, you grow again, you recover. That is how stress works. If you keep exposing yourself to that level of stress, at a time your body gets used to it, and there's nothing much. It's not new anymore. It's growing. You recover, it grows. Right? That is how stress works. So it's critical that you understand that stress response, because how do I remove this? Drawing on my screen. So anything that stresses you could be physical, could be emotional. I know we're focusing on the fitness stressors, but these other things, all these other areas of your life affect your fitness emotionally. Maybe you think exercise is painful. Maybe you have had a bad experience with coaches. You've had a bad experience with paying someone and they didn't deliver, and all of this. So you associate fitness and exercise with all this negative. Maybe it makes you anxious, it makes you feel sad, it makes you feel like you've been cheated, all those emotions, and rightfully so, they're stressors. So it's really important you, as I said, how to approach stresses. Be mindful and aware of it. Socially, how do you think your environment, what is it like? Is it environmental environmental stress, right? What's your environment like? Is it somewhere, is it easy to exercise, right? Is it easy to exercise? Do you have people around you that model fitness? And apart from fitness, your environment, how is it? Your room, your mind. Do you believe there's something meaningful you're supposed to be doing that's existential or spiritual? These things stress us. And it's really important to sit down and mindfully look at it and wonder and think about it. What stresses you? Call it out, name it, and it's easier to cope with them because that's your reality. That's your reality, right? Mm, my network. Okay. So the thing about stress is that when you experience it once in a while, right, it's okay. Your body's okay with it and thrives. But when you're in constant overwhelm and constant stress, it becomes overwhelming for your body. So regardless of how much you think stress is positive, if you don't recover, as I said in the beginning, if you don't learn ways to take time to recover, because stress is stress, it would happen. What is your expectation? This is life, right? So on a fitness journey, what's your expectation? It's gonna be hard some days. Learning how to recover will make you get to your fitness goals faster. And I understand that it can get really complicated when you're new to fitness. You're like, okay, what do I eat? How do I approach resting? How do I approach nutrition? What vegetables should I eat? What vegetables do I eat? How much water do I drink? How do I sleep? That is why our pillars in Move It Love helps you look at all of these things because it's connected. And talking about stress is the love pillar of Move It Love, meaning that acknowledging your stress and learning how to cope with it is a form of self-care, is a form of taking care of you. Because your body is always, you're never going to be done with the amount of things you have to do. Some things is a day-to-day occurrence. Like, as long as you're waking up in the morning, you need to get that thing done. So you have to know that despite all of what is going on, you have to take the time to rest. And being here, listening to this information means you can find a way to take care and recover from stress. And we can go into that in our next topic, finding your rest. This one is just knowing more about stress, and I believe that knowledge is a very key pillar to your fitness. Knowing that just knowing the stress responses alone already helps you start to think and understand how you can care about yourself more, and how you can approach stress. When something is starting to overwhelm you, you acknowledge it and say, oh, this is overwhelming. When something makes you fearful, you acknowledge it and say, this is making me fearful. You acknowledge it as stress. And what can you do? And then look at the pattern. How do you normally respond to stress? Sometimes when we're stressed out, we just want to eat. Maybe eat and watch Netflix. It's our own way of responding to stress, where you now start to bring it out to the physical. All these things happen in your mind, and then you just want to eat something sweet and watch Netflix till you're done. But that is not your recovering. Because that is also a stressor to your body. And think about everything I just said now. Because you're under stress and you're not using the right stress recovery techniques, now you're eating those high fat, high energy meal. Your body is not digesting food at that moment. Your body is not using energy in that moment because it's stressed out. That food that you have just consumed has not yet been digested. That is why a lot of people will teach you to eat without distractions. Be mindful of the food. Like when you're paying attention to the food, you're just eating. Your body knows you're not under stress, because for you to be eating, it means nothing is chasing you, right? But if you're watching a movie, your body cannot acknowledge to digest the food. That is what most of the times happen. And then, regardless of whether you're under stress or not, and you're in a calorie deficit, definitely, because it's a deficit, your body is constantly mobilizing energy. This can get confusing, I understand. But if you watch the lecture on energy balance and compassionate fat loss, you're going to really understand what I spoke about in how I discussed energy balance, right? And we're going to go into calorie deficits a lot more, and how to set targets for yourself in a calorie deficit. Now, a stress response follows a predictable pattern. Data is a story, as I said. When you start in, we talked about it in the first graph that I shared. Start in homeostasis. You experience a stressor that disrupts that homeostasis, and then your body enters this alarm phase where it's, that's the stress response, trying to understand what happened, what's happening, and then you recover, and your body rebuilds a new level of homeostasis. All right, please ask me any questions. Anything that feels confusing, send me a message and I'll respond. I just felt like doing this slide. So when you're working correctly with the stress response, it helps you stay focused because you understand what's going on inside. You understand what is happening on the outside. And then you would internally know when you're rested, right? You know when you feel good again. And that is it for our stress responses. And we still have a lot of things to discuss in this webinar. And if you got to this place, thank you very much for staying with me. I'm going to drop a bonus video in this webinar. And I just want us to not be overwhelmed with all of the information I have shared. I'm going to drop a bonus webinar under this particular video in the online school, so that you can watch it after you're done. It's going to be a continuation of this because we've spent more than 45 minutes here, and I don't want to keep you any longer than you have to stay. Thank you for showing up today. I am very grateful that we got to do this today. Very excited that we'll get to do it again on Saturday. And I'll be doing a bonus lecture, a live lecture on Monday. If you want to join me as I teach on this class live on Monday. If not, you can get the replay. And it's been an exciting time. Thank you for being in the Mel webinar community, and have a very good day. If you have any questions on stress, I'm going to be talking about that in another video. But if you have any questions and need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. This is what I am here for. This is what I'm passionate about. And see you next Saturday, where we'll discuss finding your rest, practical ways to really help you manage stress. But one assignment I'm leaving with you this week is to start to pinpoint the daily stressors in your life and how they make you feel. I have an emotion wheel. I'm going to share the results too. An emotion wheel, so you can identify